What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Know from whence you came. If you know whence you came, there are absolutely no limitations to where you could go. James Baldwin.
James Baldwin.
I'm not a nigga. I'm African. You are a nigga. These words were spoken to me by an African cab driver who refused to drive my friends and I to the South Side. That's one side of the story. The other, you just left Africa? Did you ride any elephants? My name is Vic Mensa. I'm a hip-hop artist from the South Side of Chicago.
The danger of a single-sided story. I think that's how it goes.
Nah, I know what you mean. I know the aim for that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
When it started coming out, I didn't sound as confident as it was coming out.
I got you. No, but that's 100%. Like, the danger of one-sided story can definitely hurt the mentality of how you approach people. You won't have no appreciation for them because you view them one-sidedly. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good thing.
And that's what I say. Some people don't know how closed-minded they are. Okay?
Some people don't know how closed-minded they are. That's facts. Ooh, that's a reality check.
I've never ridden an elephant, and I am, in a most literal sense, an African American. My father is from a small slum called the Asakore Zongo, in a town called Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana. My mother is white American from a town called Ithaca in upstate New York. Africa existed in the imagination of my childhood friends primarily within a framework of caricatures. The most famous of which was by far African Booty Scratcher, with Spear Chucker coming in a close second. Although these caricatures are very one-dimensional, they are, however, not so much of a departure from what Black Americans are shown of Africa. Take, for example, the UNICEF commercials. Emaciated African children in mud huts that you can save for $1. Although well-intentioned, the narrative is one of scarcity, not of Africa as the most resource-rich continent on the planet. I've often heard Africans view African Americans in just that stereotypical ways, as lazy, criminal, and violent. The disjointing of the African diaspora has been the most effective tool of white supremacy in the continued disenfranchisement of peoples of African descent.
Anytime I hear people speak about how Africans view us through the eyes of stereotypes, I always go back to the videos that they watch, or they're not watch, but they're being presented by through television. The incarceration, the sagging of the pants, the fights, like all the stuff that don't paint us in a good light. You know what I'm saying? I always go back to that, and they put me in a safe place because it lets me know that it's a division that was created for people to have, again, like we were talking about earlier, one-sided mentality of another person.
Right,
you know?
right. And that's why I'm always telling people, check what you keep on
Question
saying.
it too.
Yeah, question it. Oh, they don't like us. Who told you they didn't like you? Why do you think that? Who told that person who told you? Most often it's the parents. But where did your parents get that information from?
Yeah.
We hosted a live stream on the channel one day where a young lady came on the live stream and she told us some of the things that her family was told about African Americans. Don't go near this group. They are trouble. You know, all of the stereotypes. So question that. Why are they saying that?
That's fact.
You got to challenge what you hear
every time
and stop repeating it.
Especially
if you didn't experience it.
Yeah, especially if it's like a term to use to hate somebody or not like them. You know what I'm saying? Why all of a sudden I have to be in a position to dislike somebody because of something that's being told to me about a person? Got to get your facts straight.
Yep.
Got to get it straight.
By the year 2050, a quarter of the world's population will be African. African Americans, having come from a collective wealth of absolute zero during chattel slavery, having a period of under 200 years amassed a spending power of over $1 trillion.
That part.
Reuniting the
That
broken
part. I gotta play that from the top. Hold up.
wealth of absolute zero during chattel slavery, having a period of under 200 years, amassed a spending power of over $1 trillion. Reuniting the broken bond of the African and the Black American can combine strength in numbers with strength in dollars and a level of cultural influence unprecedented in world history, with which
he ain't done. Hold up.
we can begin to address the devastating wounds of colonization.
Yeah.
Could y'all imagine that? Let's take a moment. Answer this question. Now, this may just be an American problem, but those of you who are in the diaspora in America, answer this question. Do you remember how much money you spent when we was all inside?
Yeah.
Because I know me alone, baby. I look back at that and I'm like, what?
Yeah, we're $1 trillion race. That's big. That's recent. That's recent statistics, by the way.
Yes, we still hold the spending power.
Yeah, we do. 100%.
Imagine if that was circulated back to us.
Facts.
Imagine that.
Yes.
We've done it before. We've done it plenty of times in our history. Now listen, some of the things in this video I'm more knowledgeable on American history more than anything else.
Yeah.
So of course sometimes I'm always gonna bring it back to American. This is an American reaction. So
yeah, facts.
But it will require strategy. Today, I'll be discussing 3. First of which, identification of a common enemy and a naming of our shared oppressions. Secondly, transcending neocolonialism.
Right.
And third, fostering cultural understanding through the use of art, technology, and education.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. It is so important for us to understand the history of all of us.
Nah, facts.
All of us, especially now that all over the diaspora, we're moving here, we're moving there, we're moving here. It is so important for us to learn what happened in the Caribbean.
Right.
So important for us to learn what happened in the African continent, South America, all over. It's so important. Even more recent history within the last 50 years in Europe. It is so important that we understand what happened so that we can understand each other.
That's what revolves around. Another thing that we always do is relate the cultures. You know what I'm saying? So if you can go there and you can have a relationship just by relating the food, the way they dress, the music, you know what I'm saying? Then there's a growth pattern there, and that's how people can start to build a real relationship, especially around the diaspora, you know?
Right. If we could find the correlations between our food and the way we dance and the way we say things and our facial expressions and all of this, imagine if we took the time to do that with our history and with our walk.
Yeah.
You know about the Jim Crow laws and how there's still remnants of it today in our school system. Do you know about the the school to prison pipeline? Do you know where all of that started? Do you know about the land that's getting stolen now, even today? Do you know about that?
Yeah.
All of that, it starts with yourself. You wanting to understand. Instead of blaming this person and blaming that person, understand why.
Yeah.
Look at the origin story of it.
You empower the next person when you give them information that can help them understand you.
Right.
Because you don't have to look at your brother or your sister with any level of enviness, hate, jealousy, whatever it is that may have been downloaded in your system to think one-sided about another person. You can now start to understand through history that there's a lot of relations that we all had a similar upbringing with. You know what I mean? So, that's all important.
62. When addressing a delegation of African freedom fighters, Kwame Nkrumah said, and I paraphrase, "This meeting gives us the opportunity to assess our strengths as well as those of our enemy." Who is the enemy? The enemy is imperialism, with its weapons, colonialism, and neocolonialism.
Right. And it's important to know that because oftentimes when we're having these conversations, people look at a certain group. And it's not a certain group. And that's why when people say that, oh, y'all are, they give us titles of groups or whatever. And I'm like, baby, don't you ever. My mama named me Sierra when I was born. Don't put no title on me or none of that. I know who I am.
Yeah.
The real who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when people try to put these titles, I'm like, Go back to the history books. Of course, we want to say we accomplished all this on our own. So when we look at things of how we were able to still get educated, even when it was illegal for us to get educated, who was helping us? When we look at the escape routes, who was helping us? When we look at all of the marches and, you know, our favorite great legends and the people who made it possible for us to do this, and that, who was there? Look at the pictures. You'll see who was there.
Yeah.
It's a united fight of people who want to fight a system. It's never been a group.
Right.
Now, you know, there are some groups, but y'all get what I'm saying.
It's all part of the system, though.
Right. It's the system that upholds the group.
Let's define imperialism. Imperialism is the practice of a nation imposing its rule or authority over another nation, most often through the use of brute military force. It is no secret that we as Black people, from Ghana to South Africa to Nigeria to Haiti to Jamaica, from Louisiana to Botswana, have been the victims of a ruthless imperialism at the hands of the British, the French, the Spanish, the Dutch, the Portuguese, pretty much all white people, and in a more distant past, the Arab world as well. It is the same British Empire that colonized the land of my father that is responsible for the proliferation of African slaves across the Americas and the Caribbean. The same enemy. It's the same counterintelligence arm of America that's responsible for destabilizing the Black community with crack cocaine. That's responsible for destabilizing governments across Africa by meddling in their politics.
It's connected.
Same enemy. Let's backtrack for a second. In 1957, Kwame Nkrumah led Ghana to independence, becoming the first nation in sub-Saharan Africa to achieve this feat. He subsequently became the nation's first president. Kwame Nkrumah was an unabashed enemy of imperialism. He was a Pan-Africanist with ties to other leaders such as Mugabe and Lumumba, and amassed a fortune in his time in power, with which Ghana was able to fund liberation movements for African nations across the continent. This was a significant threat to America. And in 1966, the CIA was involved in a coup that deposed Kwame Nkrumah, setting Ghana and the continent at large back considerably. Let's fast forward a little bit. In 1979, in another military power grab, this time in South America, the CIA collaborated with a Nicaraguan rebel group called the Contras to overthrow the government. How did they fund it? They brought Nicaraguan cocaine into the United States at the dawn of the crack epidemic, effectively opening the doors for the sliding of the prison cells that would begin the age of mass incarceration. And today, there are more African people in bondage in a prison cell than were ever on a plantation.
I mean, you can, that alone just makes you want to think about it. Like, what has changed between the years? What would have truly changed if there's, I mean, the only thing that looked like it has changed is that the brutality of it is a little more in secret now, because whatever happened behind prison walls, you can't really identify. You know what I'm saying? When people, that's a whole nother story. But just the question is, what has truly changed when you look at it? You know what I'm saying? Nothing has really changed.
And we know that's big business.
That is big business. We all know that.
But look how interconnected. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Same enemy. Now, private prisons in America are big business. One of the largest companies is called Geo Group. That same Geo Group owns carceral facilities in South Africa, where the Dutch have bastardized the African people. Now, if we go to West Africa, Dutch-owned Shell Gas Company was one of the primary drillers of Nigerian oil. Same enemy. When you begin to peel back the layers, a clear imperialist shadow is cast from the cells of Sing Sing to Johannesburg to the oil fields in Nigeria. If we can identify our common enemy, at that point, we can begin to collectivize our power. But without strategy, power is useless. And any effective strategy has to include transcending neocolonialism. Neocolonialism is the use of economic, political, and other forces to influence nations, especially former dependencies. 97% of Africa was colonized by the year 1913, roughly 60 years after the end of slavery in America. Here we are in the year 2021, roughly 60 years after most African nations achieved independence. But in most cases, it's little more than a facade for an imperialist puppeteer behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Ghana is rich in gold. Why is Ghana not rich from gold? Nigeria is rich in oil. Why then are Nigerians not rich from oil? The Congo is rich in diamonds. Why is Congo not rich from diamonds?
Not exactly.
Black queer feminist theorist Audre Lorde has a quote in which she says, "We cannot dismantle the master's house using the master's tools." On the plantations of Tennessee, the master's tools consisted of colorism, separating light from dark, house from field Negro, the banning of drums or the speaking of native tongues. In West Africa, tribal division.
Wait, before we do that, colorism's still here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
People think they better than you because your skin is lighter. You have good hair.
The hair, Lord.
Your features. Speaking AAVE.
It's right in front of us every day. On TV, right when you walk in, like in the stores, it's right there in front of us.
That's why every day I tell my baby, I play brown sugar baby. With my baby, girl, you gonna know you a beautiful brown girl.
Facts. Facts.
I feel her head so much as she only 2. The world ain't gonna be able to touch her. Y'all ain't gonna ever be able to use that divide and conquer tool on my baby. Better build them children
you just
up.
came out of you, huh?
I know,
okay.
Right? They better build them children up.
Were exacerbated through the lure of trade with Europeans, effectively leading brother to sell brother, sister to sell sister, and father to sell son. When we
can't even imagine. I say we can't even imagine that, but knowing some of the things that I know here that we don't even speak on.
And I think that's what it is for us. Yeah, we just know more than what we say. Half the time, it's just not.
And some things it's not appropriate to say out loud.
It's not appropriate, no.
But the average person here in our community may not even be able to fathom that unless they come from a dysfunctional generation.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say household, I don't want to say family, but we all know somebody in our family that's jacked up, that's done some things, and the family is hiding it. And see, I'm going somewhere that I don't want to go, but I'm about to play that part again. That's why it's important to understand other people's culture and their history and things that they deal with. There's a lot that goes on, and this isn't just a black thing. This goes on in other ethnic groups too.
Yeah, 100%.
They deal with dysfunctional things and things.
Yeah, facts.
You replayed it back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tribal divisions were exacerbated through the lure of trade with Europeans, effectively leading brother to sell brother, sister to sell sister, and father to sell son. When we adopt the same uber capitalist dollar over everything ethos as our oppressors, we have effectively become them. We're doing their job for them. When the 5 richest men in Nigeria have a collective wealth of over $30 billion, enough to end extreme poverty, and yet 5 million face hunger, we have adopted the master's tools. One of the master's most destructive tools has been the use of religion to divide.
Oh, you're going to talk about it.
African spiritual systems of traditions such as Vodun across the Middle Passage to become Voodoo, or Yoruba across the Middle Passage to become Santeria, have been demonized and outlawed. And Christianity has often been used to enslave, justify, and commit genocide. I don't say this to offend, insult anyone's spiritual system.
No, this facts.
Just to bring light to the fact that when you have made a man hate and fear the gods of his grandfathers, well, you've made him hate and fear himself. When I was in Ghana recently, I came across my father's birth certificate. I was stricken by the fact that in bold print at the top of the document, it read, Christian name first. My father's name is Edward Kwaku Mensah. His mother would call him Kwaku. The name Kwaku wasn't even on his birth certificate. It actually was replaced with Kingsley. I was taken aback by the fact that to take part in society, my people had to discard their names. They had to discard their gods. And they had to turn their back on their ancestry. If we're going to be able to dismantle the master's house, we need to be able to look into our toolbox, identify which of our tools belong to said master, and discard those tools so we can make a plan of deconstruction using our own devices.
Yes, sir. Hey, I feel like a lot of what he's saying truly don't need a real deep dissecting because he's hitting it dead on the nail. And that's why it's important to know your history because there's really not too much that's new under the sun. That's really nothing new under the sun. But if you know your history, whenever that light shine down on something that they're trying to show you again but in a different form, you'll catch it before it actually catches you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's just the importance of it. So, yeah, he on it. Yeah.
African history to the Black American in public schools begins with slavery and ends with the Civil Rights Movement. There is no discussion of the history of the universities of Timbuktu, of Mansa Musa as history's richest man, of the Mali Empire, of the Ghana Empire, of the Asante, driving away the British, of the medieval castles of Zimbabwe, or even of the construction of the first pyramids as being the work of a black pharaoh named Khufu. They would have you believe, however, that Elizabeth Taylor is a spitting image of Cleopatra and Matthew McConaughey looks like Timbuktu. These are the same people that cast Tom Cruise as the Last Samurai, so I can't be that surprised. But what we need is a complete overhaul, a shift from a Eurocentric curriculum to one that properly represents us and our contributions to society and to civilization. Two of the fastest growing global markets are Black music and technology. What's referred to as the urban aspirational market, it's basically everything we influence with hip hop, is in America worth over $1 trillion.
That's true.
Hip hop is global. Afrobeats is global. Collaboration between Black American and African artists, fashion designers, engineers, affords us the opportunity to redefine our narrative in contrast from a master's tool of division to one of a unified front.
That's a bar. He just said a mouthful, and we always talk about what? Bridging the gap.
Right.
And that's exactly how you do it. Like I said, a lot of them don't need dissecting, but he's definitely hitting it dead on the nail. Like, we are the masses when it comes to music. You know what I'm saying? We kill it in all the arenas and all that. We can make any type of style of music, and it will go crazy.
We are
you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. So... yeah, it's fine.
And we seeing it now. It's happening. The collaborations is happening.
True. Yeah.
I love it.
The tech industry is globally valued at over $3 trillion. What's known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, advanced wireless, and mobile technology has disrupted things everywhere. In 2018, Africa was responsible for half of the global mobile money accounts. We really are more connected than we've ever been. Tech gives us the opportunity for the underprivileged to have access to job opportunities, to have access to information and quality of life that we haven't before. And the possibility for collaboration is greater than ever. It can be easy as Black people to feel as if we've been under the heel since the dawn of time, but there was a time before colonization. And we truly are the cradle of civilization. Mm-hmm. And above all, we're hopelessly connected. If the diaspora are the limbs, or the continent is the skeleton, we are one body. Every system in the body can work with itself, but without the skeletal system, everything collapses. Our growth and our mobility has been purposefully stunted for the creation of a permanent underclass by the world's imperialist masters. If we are to overcome this status of second-class global citizen, we're going to need to be able to look together and identify our common oppressors, to reject the structures of those oppressors, and to replace them with structures of our own, of understanding, art, education. At that point, that's when we can begin to mend the fractures in our damaged but strong bones. Thank you.
Hard, man, hard.
It
Yeah.
really was.
That's what it's about, though. I think
really
he
was.
hit it dead on the nail. Yeah.
Not much more we can say. We want to hear y'all thoughts.
Facts.
All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.